Hello, and welcome to the Venue Coach Blueprint for Owners. I'm Kyle Labar. This podcast is all about helping you fill your wedding venue with more bookings, earn more from each one, and keep your customers happy for a long time. We'll also talk about some tough times and big lessons that I've learned along the way. Let's dive in together and make your venue the best spot for weddings. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Venue Coach with Kyle Labar. Today's episode is sponsored by, no one, but it's dedicated to the venue owners who are looking to get out of the day-to-day operation and get some of their time back so they can enjoy the venue and their weekends and their nights and their days and not have to do everything. And so how do you do that, you might be asking? Well, the reason why I want to talk about this is because I have been recently studying Dan Martell's book, Buy Back Your Time, and in it he talks a lot about you have to figure out the things that you're doing that currently are not valuable to you or the business, in the sense that I haven't read it enough to teach it precisely, but basically there are tasks. There are tasks that you perform day to day that are just sucking your soul to live, and they also don't do they aren't like directly responsible for revenue. And so those things can be like your emails, your sending contracts out to brides, which are important. Don't get me wrong, none of these things are not important, but some of them just don't drive the sales. So actually the contract thing, that's probably very important, and it solidifies the relationship and make sure that you have that there. So probably not the best example, but sending out the follow-ups and scheduling the 30-day meetings, cleaning the venue itself, making sure that it looks presentable, things like that. So there's a lot of different things, and really you need to sit down and discover which things you're doing. It could be the books, the accounting, it could be just ordering supplies, that sort of thing. And so whatever those things are, write those things down, and then basically you write down everything that you're doing, and then highlight the ones in red that you just absolutely hate and don't do very much for you. And then you can also highlight the ones in yellow that are neutral to you and ones that light you up. And so so there are ones that light you up but don't produce very much money, but those are like investments is what Dan calls them. And so you're investing in your future, you're making investments in the business, you're investing your time into your family, into relationships, that sort of thing, which ultimately will lead you to be a better person and the type of person who can thrive and grow. And then there are things that you don't necessarily enjoy doing, but are responsible for revenue. So that's like your sales and your marketing, that sort of thing. So those would be your second priority. So first you replace the administrative BS that you're doing currently, and it's a buyback rate, so you have to figure out how much you're making on an hourly basis, and that's how much you can afford to pay someone to do those things that you currently loathe doing and can offload to somebody else so that you can focus on better things like sales, like closing, like delivering an excellent experience. And so listen, I can't do the book justice, but you can read it for yourself. I'm just passing along the information that I've gained from it. And so the next piece would be getting like a salesperson in or a manager who can manage things. Maybe you've already hired a cleaning help who can flip the rooms for you, who can clean the floor and the food and grime off of the floors and make it presentable before your next tour. And then you're running the tours for a while until you're able to then focus on the higher level objectives of the business, how to add more value, that sort of thing. And you can offload that onto a salesperson or your manager who can work those tours, work the leads, and do all the follow-ups and all of that. And maybe you hate doing that. Maybe you're not a people person, which is funny in our industry, but it happens. And maybe you just want to have a successful business, but you know that you shouldn't be the face of it. You shouldn't be customer facing. And that's okay too, because it's a viable business. And then from there, once you've replaced that, then you can replace yourself with those things. And now you can focus on just how to make the business and how to make the experience more exceptional for your couples. And then you can really focus on those things without being distracted by all of the other small tasks or tasks that don't light you up, that you can just pick and choose which ones you want to work at. So he recommends analyzing your time, seeing where you are wasting a lot of time or spending a lot of time on less useful things. And so in there, if your buyback rate, let's say, is $100 an hour and you're doing $10 an hour tasks, then you are costing your business $90 an hour in productivity that you could have been spending on other things. And so I hope that this has been helpful. I'm just passing along information that I have found to be useful. And actually, a lot of it in his book has helped me to get myself out of doing the day-to-day and being able to focus on things like this podcast and actually being more client-facing, because I love to teach. I love to help other venue owners. And I'm also really good at sales, so I like to do some of that too. But I shouldn't be doing only that. And in terms of coaching, I am better suited for that just because of my experience. But even that, eventually I might find a coach who can do as good or a better job than I can. And so really what it comes down to is my focus is focused on how can I deliver as much value as possible? And so eventually I'll want to find somebody who can also do the coaching with me and then eventually do it for me. And then that way I can focus on just delivering insane results and value to the clients. And so right now that's still my focus, but my attention's split between different avenues of my business. And so it's a never-ending spiral up. And so take a look this week. Challenge yourself to do a time audit, is what it's called. So you sit down and you write down everything you do in every 15-minute block of the day and see where you're spending most of your time. So do that, and then it'll start to give you ideas on jobs that can be replaced. And can you combine jobs? So it doesn't have to just be one thing. It can be multiple things that you give to somebody, maybe an administrative assistant or something. But anyways, I hope you found this useful. If you did, like and subscribe, share it, or don't. But I will keep sharing insightful tidbits that I gather along the way, and hope that you get as much value as you can from this. And I'll catch you on the next one.